This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Mosaic, a daily news program from Link TV, presents a selection of news reports from independent and state-controlled broadcasters from throughout the Middle East.
It's now more than 7 hours since multiple deadly attacks were launched in Mumbai, but India's financial capital is still in lockdown. In the last few minutes, we've been getting reports of more explosions at luxury hotels in the city. They were among several different locations attacked by gunmen armed with automatic rifles and grenades.
The Associated Press is reporting that Indian police are saying that 4 attackers have been killed and 9 others arrested. Here's what we know so far. At least 80 people are reported to have been killed, including the chief of the city's anti-terror squad. Indian police say the attackers are holding hostages in at least 2 luxury hotels, the Taj and the Oberoi. And news agencies are reporting that a group called the Deccan Mujahideen has claimed responsibility for the attacks. Al Jazeera's Jane Azopardi has the latest.
Coordinated and deadly, gunmen spark panic across the streets of Mumbai. Their targets appear carefully chosen. At least 7 sites in India's financial hub came under attack, all of them popular with Western tourists. 2 luxury hotels were among the targets, as was the Café Leopold, one of Mumbai's most famous restaurants, and a major train station, crowded with people when the gunmen began firing indiscriminately.
Bodies started falling on the ground and all bloodshed and all that. So I told all the people start rushing out and start running away from there. So as people started running out, the crackers started becoming more and more. It came out of the station. Leading out of the station, people were crying. I saw people limping, bullets, bloodshed, everything. And I told them run, but we were frightened which side to run.
Local television clearly shows the lobbies of 2 5-star hotels, the Taj Mahal and the Oberoi, on fire as people are evacuated.
Very, very disturbing images indeed.
Flames and plumes of smoke could be seen rising from the Taj, a Mumbai landmark. Heavy firing has reportedly been heard inside. Around the city, the number of dead and injured keeps rising. Among the victims, Hemant Karkare, the chief of the police anti-terrorism squad in Mumbai. Police have been quick to label the incident a terrorist attack. They say the gunmen used automatic weapons and grenades. Those caught in the firing line say they had specific targets in mind.
They wanted anyone with British or American passports. So anyone who had a British or American passport, they wanted to know. So I guess they were after foreigners, yeah.
It's believed some of those foreigners are now being held hostage inside the 2 5-star hotels. They're attackers in a standoff with police. Mumbai is now under virtual lockdown. Hundreds of heavily armed police are swarming the streets, evacuating those staying nearby the areas under attack. Hospitals have been inundated with casualties. Relatives of those injured or missing have flocked there, waiting for news to come through. Their grief is plain to see. International condemnation has been swift. Both the United States and Britain say they'll continue to help Indian authorities deal with the attacks. There have been a wave of bomb blasts in India in recent years. The motive for this clearly planned and well-executed attack is still unclear. Jane Azopardi, Al Jazeera.
Al Jazeera's Riz Khan is in Mumbai. He's been updating us since we first heard about these attacks. He joins us once again on the phone. Riz, bring us up to date then. What do we know so far?
Well, one thing that is very much in the news in the local TV here is that the Taj Hotel, a major landmark in the city, I mean, essentially the landmark of old Mumbai, is sort of fairly viciously on fire again. There was an area in the old part of the hotel that had been dampened down after bursting into flames, and it's in pretty bad shape now. So live pictures on local TV are showing how that's falling apart, and the local fire engines are trying to control that. There's still talk about some of the attackers have been killed and some having been caught, though very little information has come out on that. The army's out on the streets now, not just the police, and advanced squads of anti-terrorist police are out there as well. The fact that a number of the senior anti-terrorist police have also taken casualties, the main chief having been killed, is a major surprise to people as well. But it's quite surprising how the city's falling apart, and has fallen apart over a number of hours.
Is there any indication of what's causing these repeated fires at the Taj Hotel, which are, after all, happening well after the initial attacks occurred?
Well, the flames are really quite big right now. It looks like the fire service didn't quite get to dampen them down as much as they needed to. They're on the on one wing of the Taj Hotel. There's talk of conflict still going on in the Taj with a number of attackers, so it's probably access to those locations that's limiting what the fire service can do. But the extent of the fire is pretty severe, and it's a shame because it's going to damage severely a major landmark of the city. We've been using the term lockdown or virtual lockdown. Is there any sort of curfew in place in Mumbai, though? Well, there's been no news of an actual curfew released to the people, but it's at 4:30 in the morning, so it's unlikely that the majority of the public are going to hear anything specifically. But it's a kind of city that runs 24 hours. The majority of people will be asleep now, but there's still activity in the city. The key thing will be that the police and the army, now being out in force, will try to check vehicles traveling in and out of the city. And it's a peninsula, so to some degree they might be able to check vehicles heading out of the city in case they feel that any of the attackers are trying to escape. But it's the kind of city that's very difficult to lock down because of the number of streets over a wide geographic area that could easily be penetrated. It's unlikely there are the resources to completely lock down a city like Mumbai. It's been widely reported, though, that hostages have been taken. Are we clear that this is a hostage situation? Has there been any contact with the attackers, or could these people just be trapped inside these hotels? Well, no word of any actual demands from the attackers. The news that they went out looking for people specifically with foreign passports is very disturbing. That indicates that perhaps they were looking for hostages that they could leverage against Western countries, Western governments. But the areas they attacked also are quite significant because they hit the Taj Hotel in the Oberoi, are very popular with the local Indian elite, but they're also major centers for tourists. And the weather being cooler now has meant that tourism is in its sort of peak or rising to its peak. So the targets they've hit have been very much geared towards the international community as well. Have we had any response from the government yet? No official word. I mean, there's been talk of different senior members of the government talking to each other and discussing what might be going on, but very little sign of government response to what's happening on the streets right now. There's no doubt that the major politicians will be up and about, very aware of what's going on, but they're saying that now at least 80 dead and 200 plus injured. It's a concern for politicians. They're going to have to react in very soon. Perhaps as daylight breaks, there'll be more word from the actual government figures.
The crisis between the Kuwaiti government and the National Assembly was temporarily put on hold. Meanwhile, all eyes are focused on the days ahead, which may carry with them many surprises, with cabinet resignation not among them. Kuwait's Emir, Sheikh Sabah al-Ahmad al-Sabah, decided to put on hold a decision to dissolve the government of Sheikh Nazir Mohammed al-Sabah. The government has withdrawn from the parliament in protest over a proposal to question the Kuwaiti prime minister. The proposal was submitted by 3 cabinet members. Ahmad El-Enaizi reports from Kuwait.
Despite all expectations to the contrary, the crisis between the Kuwaiti government and the National Assembly has been put on hold. The Council of Ministers was not dissolved and working with the constitution was not upheld. This was the decision of the country's emir, who rejected the resignation of Sheikh Nazir Mohammed al-Sabah's government. Prince al-Sabah ordered ministers to continue carrying out their duties, pending a decision.
Thank God, I can confirm there will be no dissolution, constitutional or unconstitutional. This decision shows how reasonable His Highness, the Emir, is. May God keep his legacy.
Kuwait has been sitting on the verge of a sharp political crisis that started with the withdrawal of the government from a parliament session. This news comes after the Council of Ministers walked out of parliament chambers in protest over a proposal submitted by 3 members of parliament to question the government. The government was summoned for questioning over allegations that started with security and religious violations and ended with traffic gridlock issues.
We hope that the situation will level off. Despite being behind the crisis and the deterioration, this government continues to function. In contrast, the National Assembly, especially those calling for an inquiry of the government, took part in the activation of some constitutional mechanisms.
Based on the given factors and circumstances, the crisis in Kuwait is continuing, and the solutions available on the table are still under discussion. The Kuwaiti political crisis has been frozen, pending a final decision from the country's emir, a decision that everyone here is waiting for. Ahmed Al-Naizi, Dubai TV, Kuwait.
نبقى طبعا في العراق حيث أظهر تقرير للأمم المتحدة أن عدد ضحايا الألغام في
A UN report indicated that the number of landmine victims in all of Iraq has reached 14,000 between the years 1991 and 2007. Authorities in the Kurdish region of Iraq are trying to rehabilitate the victims and reintegrate them into society through small-scale projects. More details with our reporter Bushra Abdullah Samed.
تدرك معصومة أن الحياة أنصفتها مرتين فهي نجت من الموت.
Masuma realizes that she was lucky twice. She was the victim of a landmine explosion. At the age of 10, she lost her leg, but she escaped death. Later, she married and was able to contribute to her family through a program that was designed to train landmine victims in the Kurdish region of Iraq.
My life changed, and the way society looks at me also changed.
Masuma was one in the first wave of graduates who were trained while participating in profitable projects launched in 1992 at the Dajani Center. The Dajani Center for Artificial Body Parts is one of the most important centers to provide medical treatment for landmine victims in Iraq. It accommodates victims from all over the country, which means that the necessary findings must be ensured so that it can continue to operate. It is one of the 6 centers in the Kurdish region of Iraq that was built to help landmine victims. It also has a special section that provides training to the victims so they can be reintegrated into society. The center needs special attention from the government of a country with one of the largest number of landmines. Here in Halabja, there is another medical center. Out of more than 1,700 cases it received, 60% are landmine victims. They come from different areas in Iraq.
Most of the victims were injured in the 1990s, from 1991 until 2001 and 2002. At the time, people were not informed about the areas that contain landmines.
رغم تراجع عدد الإصابات بالألغام مقارنة مع بداية التسعينيات.
Although the number of landmine injuries decreased when compared to the 1990s, this problem still threatens the lives of many people. According to a UN report, the number of landmine victims reached 14,000 in Iraq between 1991 and 2007. Half of the victims died due to sustained injuries. Those who survived are going through daily struggles due to their permanent disabilities.
بسبب إعاقاتهم الدائمة.
As soon as the Gaza Strip emerges from a crisis, it witnesses a new one of a larger and harsher magnitude. Every time the Israeli occupying forces close Palestinian border crossings, all walks of life in the Gaza Strip come to a complete halt. The closure has brought life in Gaza to an end, which led to health and environmental deterioration. Meanwhile, Palestinians can no longer do their work amidst the frequent interruptions of electricity services. The power outage has become a nightmare haunting the residents of the Gaza Strip amidst the sharp shortage of fuel necessary to operate the only power plant in Gaza. The closure of border crossings has paralyzed life in Gaza and further fueled the suffering of its residents.
Away from closed fuel stations and bakeries and away from critically ill patients at the hospital bed, the children of Abu Ahmad are living a different form of death. They are fighting death inside the walls of their home, which is feeling the pinch of the electricity and gas crisis. This news comes after Abu Ahmad's family started to experience health deterioration due to shortages of food and frequent interruptions of electricity and gas services.
Our life is very miserable and a living hell. We used to have gas and water, yet our life was painful. Can you imagine our life now without gas, electricity, and water? How can a family of 10, such as ours, cope with a life like this? To make things worse, my husband is ill and can't work.
In this humble home during the day and night, the children of Abu Ahmad gather around his wood-fire stove, which has replaced electric and gas stoves. The children hold pieces of bread and wait for their father to take down the teapot from the wood-fire stove. This is their daily meal, which in itself is contributing to deterioration of their health conditions. Meanwhile, the family's head of household has no choice but to escape from home toward the beach in order to console himself.
In the morning, I perform the prayers. Then the children wake up and prepare to go to school. I prepare a wood fire for them so they can make tea. I wake up my wife, and she helps prepare them to go to school. By that time, the tea will be ready. They drink tea and go to school. We cannot provide a full meal for them. We can just give them bread and tea.
Just like the adults, the children also are tired of looking for wood for the fire every day. They have no cooking gas because Israel does not allow it to enter Gaza. With sadness, the children say they are tired of this crisis and the power outages in the day and night. This family is one of thousands of families who are subjected to this tragedy that has dangerous health hazards. Even if the checkpoints are opened, it will probably be too late to reverse the health risks these families are enduring. In addition, the suffering that has been caused by the Israeli-imposed siege needs a long time to be reversed, even if the checkpoints reopen. For Al Madar program, Walid Abdelrahman, Abu Dhabi, Gaza.
The deadline given to the settlers by the Israeli Supreme Court to evacuate the Rajabi building in the heart of Hebron after they overtook it 2 years ago has passed. The settlers, however, continue their acts of aggression while Israeli occupation soldiers watch them. The group of settlers that took over the building attacked and vandalized Al-Ras Mosque, writing racist phrases on it as well as phrases defaming Islam. Other settlers attacked homes and damaged grave sites.
صعد المستوطنون من هجماتهم الإرهابية على منازل المواطنين.
Settlers' terrorist attacks escalated against the homes of citizens and their properties in Ras Al area, Wadi Al Hussein, Wadi Al Nasra, and Al Jabeiri neighborhood. The attacks reached a Ras Mosque and the gravesite near a Rajab building, which was taken over by settlers.
Large numbers of settlers attacked us. The army and police did not stop them from attacking our homes at night. They did not spare any home from their terror and destruction.
The director of Al-Awqaf institution in Hebron, Zaid Al-Jabari, said that the attacks were not exclusive to Ras Mosque. More than 20 mosques were attacked, including those that were completely closed, such as Al-Arabin Mosque in Tel Al-Remede, Al-Qattab, and Al-Kayyal in Souq Al-Khudar, and others.
The policy of the Israelis is a policy of systematic attacks on all mosques in the city of Hebron.
أحد من المصلين الوصول إليها. هناك مسجد الراس الذي تعرض
10 mosques were completely closed and the Palestinian worshippers can no longer reach them. These mosques have been under attack by Israeli settlers for 1 week.
The acts of aggression began in the evening when worshippers were attacked with stones. This did not stop until the early hours of the next day. Israeli occupation authorities announced that Al Ibrahimi Mosque was to be closed for 2 days in order to accommodate Jewish holidays.
امبارح أثناء صلاة المغرب وإحنا في المسجد بنصلي قاموا بالاعتداء علينا.
Yesterday evening, the settlers attacked us with stones as we were praying inside the mosque. The stones were very large and they destroyed the glass windows of the mosque. Because they were throwing stones at the mosque from a high building, the stones were landing on the top of the mosque. We just finished fixing the roof of the mosque and covered it with tar 2 days ago. They destroyed the mosque. When we went outside, they attacked us and threw stones at us.
One attack after the other. The question is, how long will this go on? What is happening here is a deliberate crime, which shows that the settlements are nothing more than centers for crime and terrorism. Salim Abu Saleh, Palestine Television, Hebron.
On
the order of His Majesty King Abdullah II, the Foreign Ministry arranged a visit for the families of Jordanian prisoners in Israeli jails. This morning, Abbas transported 37 Jordanian citizens so they could visit their loved ones in Israeli jails.
They crossed hundreds of miles with love and longing filling their hearts as they were about to see their loved ones who have been out of their sight for many years. They are the relatives of 16 Jordanian prisoners who remain deep within Israeli prisons. The prisoners had an appointment at the Hararim prison with their fathers, mothers, sons, sisters, and brothers.
We thank His Majesty the King. His constituents are always his top priority. Thank God his mission always produces results we want. We came to see our children in the prison. It has been nearly 2 years since I have seen him. I want to see him.
May God protect the king. He does not neglect us. He brought us here and we saw our kids right before the Eid holiday. Thank God Almighty and thank the king for this. If he were in front of me now, I would kiss his hands.
I thank His Majesty King Abdullah II for his royal order during these blessed days. My brothers and I consider this the best holiday gift because we are about to celebrate Eid. I swear to God my feelings are mixed with happiness, pain, and sadness. But thank God, the Lord Almighty, we were able to make this visit and see them. We hope that God frees them and frees all the prisoners. This time we visited them. God willing, the next time we will welcome them in our homeland.
This visit by the prisoners' relatives to Israeli jails is the third since the signing of the peace agreement between Jordan and Israel. This visit was made by royal decree. The Foreign Ministry and Jordanian Embassy in Tel Aviv exerted intense and continued efforts to make this humanitarian visit succeed.
تأتي هذه الزيارة من ضمن توجيهات جلالة الملك عبد الله الثاني المعظم حفظه الله ورعاه.
This visit comes under the order of His Majesty the King, Abdullah II. May God protect him. To the Jordanian government to take care of Jordanian citizens, especially those in prisons, including Israeli prisons.
السفارة بناء على هذه التوجيهات وعلى الحرص الحكومي لرعاية المواطنين الأردنيين أينما وجدوا بالتنسيق لهذه الزيارة.
Based on the government's order to protect Jordanian citizens wherever they are, the embassy began coordinating this visit with the Israeli side. The visit included 37 relatives of 16 prisoners who are currently in Israeli jails.
موجود في السجون الإسرائيلية.
الجديد في هذه الزيارة هو إصرار الجانب الأردني على أن يكون لقاء الأسرى
What is new about this visit is Jordan's insistence that the prisoners' meeting with their relatives be direct and without any metal or glass barrier, contrary to past meetings. This order allowed detainees and their visitors to embrace one another, which was like embracing a new life for both sides. This visit comes under the framework of His Majesty King Abdullah II and the government's resolve to take care of and support all Jordanian citizens wherever they are. From the front of the central Hadarim prison in the city of Tel Arabi, Mahmoud Al-Frouk, Jordan TV.
While President Bush boasts of success in Iraq, Iraqi parliamentarians debate a security agreement with the U.S. Will the Iraqis approve this deal? And what kind of deal will Hamid Karzai want for Afghanistan? Answer to these questions and more on Link TV's Mosaic Intelligence Report.
And when they come home, they will come home in victory.
There he goes again, standing in front of thousands of applauding soldiers at Fort Campbell in Kentucky. President Bush staunchly defended the U.S.-led invasion of Iraq and the overthrow of Saddam Hussein.
You see, the consequences and success in Iraq will resonate far beyond that country's borders. And will resonate when your children and grandchildren begin to study the history of peace. Success will frustrate Iran's ambitions to dominate the region. Success will show millions across the Middle East that a future of liberty and democracy is possible.
The president must have missed the sight of tens of thousands of Iraqis who on Friday gathered in Firdos Square, where Saddam Hussein's statue once stood and chanted, "No, no to the occupiers." He must have missed them dragging and pummeling his effigy with their shoes, a gesture of contempt in the Arab world, then jumping hysterically on it as they stamped out flames that had erupted after someone set it afire. These telling images of success were beamed to millions of viewers in the Arab world. Are they waiting anxiously for a similar experience of liberty and democracy? Today, Iraqi MPs delayed a vote to endorse a wide-ranging accord that will allow U.S. troops to stay in the country for another 3 years, despite reservations by Sunnis and fierce opposition by Shia hardliners. The vote is now scheduled for Thursday. It has drawn fire from Sunni groups as well as followers of the Shia leader Muqtada al-Sadr.
Military opposition will not be something forbidden if this treaty or this agreement have been signed.
It is still expected to pass, but this is hardly a success Bush can claim. The success belongs to the Iraqi people, as they have managed to win a number of concessions in the deal, including a hard timeline for withdrawal, the right to search U.S. military cargo, and the right to try U.S. soldiers for crimes committed while they are off their bases and off duty. The agreement also requires that U.S. troops obtain Iraqi permission for all military operations and they hand over all files of detainees in U.S. custody to Iraqi authorities, who will then decide their fate. The pact also forbids U.S. troops from using Iraq as a launch pad or transit point for attacking another country. The Bush administration had initially opposed any firm timetable for withdrawing U.S. forces in Iraq and resisted most of these demands. Guess who wants a similar deal? Afghanistan's President Hamid Karzai is demanding foreign powers set a timeline for the withdrawal of their forces from his country. He told a delegation from the UN Security Council that without a timeline, he would have to seek a political solution to the Taliban-led insurgency. According to Humayun Hamizada, Karzai's chief spokesman, the president told the delegation that the international community should give us a timeline of how long or how far the war on terrorism will go. Perhaps Bush should add this to his list of successes. I'm Jamal Dajani for the Mosaic Intelligence Report. To learn more about this program or to share your thoughts, visit us at linktv.org/mir. You can also read my blog on the Huffington Post.
Get more news about the Middle East online at linktv.org/mosaic.
The Mosaic webpage offers a complete archive of Mosaic programs, program transcripts, the Mosaic video podcast, and the Mosaic Intelligence Report, a weekly analysis of the hottest stories from the Middle East. The views expressed on Mosaic are those of the participating broadcasters, not Link TV or its sponsors. The production of Mosaic is made possible with the support of viewers like you. Thank you. This program was brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only U.S. television network devoted to global and national news, with uncompromising documentaries and diverse cultural programs. Programs which connect you to the world.